Stay with us and I will show you the wildest examples of how we can add imagination and common sense to our offspring by making them interact with and think about construction. Can you roll like a logo bumper and do that thing? Hello there, good looking person. Welcome to our channel, Explanation, where we bring you new content every week to help you get your project done the right way. And we use psychology, science, and a whole bunch of other things that make you think and make your mind a better mind. Make sure to check out our prior videos in which we are talking about science, psychology, all in construction. As I was saying before, then I was interrupted by that logo bumper thing. Starting from the basics, just about anything you do has to be imagined. It has to be, first has to be imagined. Then it has to be built to become reality. This is something that schools should be emphasizing and creating creators. You know what I'm saying? But they don't. So, since this is not offered to our kids, we should do it ourselves. Think about it. Do you teach your kids to build palpable things out of any raw material? You should. Like when your child builds a house out of Legos, or a starship out of something you cannot even recognize. They invented that. There's power to it. You should praise the kid so they feel good about what they built out of their imagination. That's called construction, and helps them develop a sense of accomplishment that in turn helps them psychologically to try bigger and better things. So when you praise a kid on something that it could be ridiculous, you are helping them in the future. It may also help them experience the transformation of a thought into a real, palpable thing. Building blocks for kids is the most powerful tool to develop imagination. See those Legos and making play towers, bridges, little houses is just as powerful in the training of these little minds as building a real home. That's more powerful than all the subjects in high school. They are trying the laws of physics, properties of materials, and developing what we call common sense. Things that we accept and expect from the world around us. Common sense. That's how they develop it. These little minds will grow up to be more prepared to plan and use their imagination to transform raw materials into real buildings and real houses one day. But it can be considered even more important than that when it comes to building a better society that also comes from the imagination. Construction is the epitome of physical structures. This is what marks our presence throughout the ages, like a pyramid. Every big civilization left some construction behind to prove their value, their importance, their knowledge. We may not read it yet, we may not understand it yet, but it's there for us to see. Do you teach your kids the importance of building something concrete to leave a mark for the future generations? Even if it's building a thought into some actions, do you? You should. keeping a sculpture from your kids' early tries, or what resembles a house, and praising an attempt to produce something out of their own imagination may be incredibly powerful to their psychological development and their sense of worth. If you keep that on a shelf and refer to it, one day these kids will be adults, builders, architects, designers, and their collaboration may be essential to the success of our society, or at least the monuments that we leave behind to prove our worth. So nurture it. My point is, from someone's imagination, from only a vision, builders create something palpable. Based on this simple conclusion, we can safely affirm that everything ever built is a product of someone's imagination. Imagine the power of the imagination. Everything. By imagining, you are creating. You can help develop creative adults by feeding their little minds with more creativity and incentivizing attempts to create and to build. A kid is a developing mind, and we as a society need to feed it. Feed that mind so they are not repeaters of what they hear, but they can imagine and use their imagination. But let me go to a story time now. I was a child once, and I remember clearly when I was uniting some blocks of Legos, and out of nowhere, a great idea sparked. I was looking at it, and I thought, oh, I think I saw a spaceship here. I added some wings. It turned out great. So I showed my brothers, and I was praised for it. But it did not take too much of thought. It wasn't at all something that I thought about. It was just an experience. It was extremely rewarding. I remember it to this day. That's why I'm telling you this story. Come to think of it, it turned out pretty great, and I turned out pretty great too. I don't know. So I can also come to a second conclusion about this story that leads me to believe that actions also help create things before the imagination was ever kicked in yet. Like my action of doing something, not even thinking about it. Just connecting Legos. Then I had an idea. I saw the possibilities. So do you teach your kids the importance of starting something with what they have in their hands? Even if the whole picture is not there yet, but put ideas into practice, or put practice into objects so ideas come up. You should. That's important too. Do you praise them for their accomplishments based on no thought at all? So you should, because sometimes they are just drawing, no thought at all, but it's still an accomplishment. These are all tools to develop imagination. And working on projects with friends can be powerful too. So start encouraging them to interact with all the young ones and do things together. What I'm trying to say is, we should teach them that when we put imagination and actions together and add the spirit of collaboration to it, we can build anything. Skyscrapers, bridges, and wonderful works of art and architecture, and to posterity. We need to teach future generations this concept is essential. It's our responsibility. We need to teach this to the kids and allow them to develop their imagination. Imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Because the knowledge is created by imagination. Let's go back to construction. Unfortunately, construction gets a bad rap.